Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest.
We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it?
He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
By examining his own attitude towards the possibilities of peace, towards the Soviet Union, towards the course of the Cold War.
Art muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me.
You see it on the bridge. Wait a minute, I did get it. If the government had to change the screw in the bridge, they had to shut it down. They got state troopers out there. They got lanes closed. They got their strange machines. How did they get up there?
Hello. Sorry about that. I am Sydney, and this is my first time as the starter host for the show, so bear with me. I'm a tiny bit nervous. I've never done this intro before. But today we're going to be talking, my name is Sydney, and for those of you that don't know me, I have my bachelor's degree in psychology and my master's degree in environmental education. I love science. I read a lot. I research a lot in my free time. And I have a pretty wide set of interests within the science sphere. And today we're going to be talking about the downsides of body positivity. But I first wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening right now in the U.S. As most people know, Texas got hit with some extremely deadly, dangerous flooding on July 4th. I also, because of the fact that Texas had this major event, a lot of other floods that are affecting other areas are kind of flying under the radar. So I wanted to bring attention to it because I think it's important that we understand just how much our weather is changing, because this type of stuff is not normal. We shouldn't be seeing this many severe floods across the United States in such a short period of time. And this should be an indicator to us that this is not normal, what is happening. And I just wanted to kind of read some of the ones that have happened just within the last couple days. In Mescalero Apache territory in New Mexico, 480,000 farmed fish were killed by floodwaters that washed through the communities. It devastated a lot of the homes and businesses that were out there, and they lost a lot of crop, which they rely on for income. In Newark, New Jersey, New York City, Northern Virginia, and Southern Maryland, there was flooding. In Plainfield, New Jersey, they received 6 inches in only a few hours. This is a video of the New York City floods. which filled up their subway. They had their second highest hourly rainfall in over 80 years. 2 inches of rainfall fell in just 30 minutes, which is about a third of what Texas received at their peak. They had like 6 inches in 30 minutes or something like that. There's also flooding in Virginia, Colonial Heights, and Petersburg. They are also at risk for catastrophic damage, which is, I think, the 4th level of flood damage out of 5. And then Texas also had more flooding in a different place. Manitou Springs in Colorado also had flooding, and this one I put on the list just because it had a news article on it, but it's typical Florida has had flooding. There's also a potential risk for the Gulf Coast to have more flooding, particularly around Louisiana, the peninsulas of Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and the Florida Panhandle. And then Arizona and Utah are also under threat of flash floods, particularly around low-lying areas, river pathways, bodies of water, and the mountains. So it's there. This is, as somebody who studies climate science, this is 100% an indicator of the escalation of this problem. And while I won't get into it today, I'll probably do that next week. I just wanted to bring attention to these floods, to bring attention to people that might need help, community members, and possibly even friends or family members that you are being affected that you didn't know were being affected. But I just wanted to put that out there so people know what's going on, and recognizing those that are struggling right now, and hopefully get the message out that they might need help.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Fancy seeing you here today. How's everything
Well,
going?
surprised to see you on the stream, you know. I'm always here, you know, just
Yeah, I was listening, and it's still hard for me to fathom so much water filling up anything like that. I'm claustrophobic. I couldn't imagine being on a train underground.
that one freaked me out. That was the one that like freaked me out the most. Like, if I was in 1 second.
Yeah, like looking at that, it's no way in the world. How do you just stay so casually calm? Like the people that were on this train, nobody's freaking out. Everybody just sitting there, still in their phone, still reading their magazines. To think that Mother Nature is not something to take serious would be a huge disservice. If you out here thinking that the sun ain't affecting you, or the rain can affect you or hurt you, you got another thing coming. I personally believe we need to put a little more respect on Mother Nature with all the pollution, with everything that we put in the air. The way that we treat the climate in general is atrocious. Imagine being in a situation where you wake up and everything is underwater. You land on your bed, you get up, step foot off the bed, and your feet goes into 3 to 4 inches of water. Everything is submerged. That would be scary as hell.
Sorry, my kid he's been jumping on furniture, and he bumped his foot into something when he was coming down. So he's 4. So unsurprising. But yeah, if I if I already am pretty claustrophobic. Like I don't like narrow. It's exactly why I hate hoarder homes. Just the idea of being like squished into things. Side note, I would never do cave diving like those people that crawl and their like face is in the rock, and I'm like, mm-mm, I'm cool. So being in that train already, I'd be anxious. And then it starts filling up with water and I'm surrounded by people and there's no clear exit. That is why I'm never going to New York. So yeah, that I find them terrifying. Like floods are one of the disasters that genuinely scare me. That and super volcanoes, because that would just mess with everything. But floods are something that ruin everything. If you, I think I said this on the previous episode when we were talking about Texas. If you have a flood in your household, everything the air touches is touch the flood. Like if flood water air touches anything in your home, that stuff has to be thrown away. You cannot keep anything that has been touched except for non-porous surfaces, which is not very many things. You pretty much have to throw out anything made of like textiles, stuffed animals, toys, books, paperwork. I mean, it would just dissolve. So floods take everything. And then also the power of water. There are paleo records, which are from the way, way past, thousands of years ago, that show floods that literally scraped the earth down to bedrock. And to this day, you can still see, sorry about that. My husband made me try one of those hot one Pringle chips, and my tongue is slightly burned and dry. I'm dealing here. I'm good. Anyway, the floods can be so severe. It'll carry trees, it'll carry cars, it'll break off bridges from their like how they're attached to the land, whatever that's called. And they will. I mean, as we showed, I don't know if we showed it or not, but there's a clip of a whole house just being floating down the river, affected by these floods. So, yeah, it's pretty severe, and it's in so many areas, which is what's astonishing to me. Is I've followed disasters my whole life, but it's always like I remember as a kid, I would scour Google. Like I would use every keyword. I would try and find every disaster I could find because life at home was so boring. So that's how I lived vicariously, was reading about the disasters that happened around the world. And I remember there would be long periods of time where I would like, nothing's happening. Like no storms, no earthquakes, no volcanoes. But now with storms and floods and disasters, it's happening every week, multiple times every week. There's somewhere around the world that's getting destroyed by record winds, record rain, record drought and heat waves and cold snaps and all of these really dangerous and deadly weather conditions. And it's saddening and disheartening to know that the information is out there, but so many people still don't believe it, despite all of this stuff that's happening. And I get like it's hard to confront a different worldview, but when stuff like this happens, it makes me wonder, like, are people ever going to get it? Like, what is it going to take for people to look up and be like, oh, you know what? I think we are affecting this earth. But I digress.
I was just saying, and real quick side note, I did the cave expedition thing one time. I was in the 10th grade. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't one of those professional caves that they go in, it was still pretty. Put it this way, it was still dangerous, and it's completely pitch black. Like once you get into the initial part of it, there is no more light. So you are holding on to the foot of the person that is in front of you, while the leader is in the front navigating where to go and where not. I'm telling you, you do not want to take that lightly.
That is why I did not become a marine biologist, because I did scuba diving twice, or no, I took lessons to do scuba diving, and then the first time I did scuba diving in the ocean, that was it. I never went again because it was like, I first have like an inner ear thing, so my ears don't equalize correctly, and if I do it the wrong way, it can make me get vertigo for a second. And I got vertigo underwater when my ears popped, and because like all the air squeezed out of my ears at different rates, and so like literally the floor was above my head visually, and everything was spinning, and I just kicked to the surface and like went all the way up, and like kicked off because my mask had also kind of like, it was starting to leak around my eyes, and so like I shot up to the surface, but it was so terrifying because I was like, what if I drown? Like, what if all these scenarios in my head, and then the fact that it was really murky and I couldn't see anything, I felt like they were going to come at me. And so when I got back up and I was thinking about like all the stuff you're going to have to pay attention to when you're a scuba diver, like you have to make sure your mask and your air gauges and all this little stuff that are really important to keep track of, and like you have to be meticulous. I am so distractible. I am so like, I'm an airhead a little bit. Like I lose things all the time. I will place my phone on a black surface and I won't be able to find it for like 6 hours. So like I can't, I would kill myself if I tried something like that. I can't, as much as I am adventurous via my knowledge and my mental exploration, I'm not going in nature. I'm not going to be in the wilderness. I'm not going to be found in a cave or underwater. I'm going to be behind a desk or in a chair.
A swimming pool is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
A whole ocean is something. Yeah. I got a movie suggestion for. I know you'll appreciate this, but for anyone that's watching, if you haven't seen it, check out Titan. That movie is not only educational, but it teaches you to respect the ocean. A quick summary: the guy, he was one of the founders and creators of one of the subs that was used to explore the Titanic. He got greedy, and ultimately he dies going back down there when he was warned millions of times that machine that he was using, it was not stable. But he wanted to prove a point, and yeah.
It broke apart underwater because he ignored the fact that it was literally cracking apart. He went down for 8 dives after he was told that he should stop, after they heard cracking and stuff. And the 8th dive was the fatal one.
After one, I would have been done. It would have been hard to get me to do the first one. But
that kid, the 19-year-old that was on there, begged his dad not to go, and the wife was supposed to go in place of the kid, but she decided last minute that she didn't want to go, and so the husband convinced the son to go instead.
Yeah, was sick. That whole thing. All them people that lost their life that day is crazy.
That dude was really selfish. Like, I've heard some of his transcripts and them talking to him about safety. He really cared nothing except getting himself to be famous, powerful, whatever, have this company that succeeded at this. Like, that's all he cared about. He didn't care about the lives that it would take to do it.
Yeah, I know I sidetracked for a second. I just thought I'd throw that out there. That was a pretty good documentary. You know.
It was I did see it. It was good.
So where are we? Are we on floods or are we moving towards
body positivity?
Body positivity, right.
Even though I do have something funny about the floods, I obviously am always watching these videos and always like sending people clips and stuff. And I sent my husband 3 in a row, and I was like, "Can you watch the videos I sent you?" So he goes to watch them, and he's like, "Wait, are these flood videos?" He's like, "I know what a flood looks like. I don't need to look." And he's like, "This is how I know that you've never been in a flood, because you're interested in watching videos of floods when he's like, it's water." But I just thought that was really funny, because to me, I'm like, "Whoa, look at that!" And like, I'm analyzing it, and but to some of my friends and family, they're like, "Okay, it's like dime a dozen."
Oh, you'll know. You will know. I've never been a part of one. The highest the water has ever gotten here is probably to maybe like the top of my ankle. It's never gone up to my knees or nothing like that. I would never step foot outside the house if it got that bad.
The only flood I've seen was in 2011. We had a really strong storm year, and the creek that ran along the horse farm that I worked at overflowed a bit, and so there's like a mini lake at the end of their driveway, but that was like maybe 6 inches of water. So it's true. I've actually never seen most natural disasters. I've only been in 2 small earthquakes and a few like wind and rain storms, and seen some lightning occasionally. But yeah, I've never seen anything big yet.
I got the clip for you. It's not necessarily out because I was about to go on a whole nother rant. It's not necessarily. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about when I play it. I think people got body positivity confused. And this is one of the reasons why I believe people got it confused. Let me bring this up on the screen. It's not very long, but you'll get the point.
Generation called fat. This is Britney Spears in 2007. She was referred to as a whale during this VMA performance. In 2009, one article was entitled "How Jessica Rolls" because of her abominable back fat. Snooki and I have never exactly gotten along, but she was held up as a plus-size woman in the early 2000s. Girl. This is Kate Winslet at the premiere of Titanic. James Cameron gave her the nickname Kate Weighs a Lot. A major plot point in Bridget Jones's Diary is how out of shape Renee Zellweger is. Here's her in the movie. She weighed 136 pounds. That makes her an American size 6. Here she is in Chicago. Obviously a very different look, which led to stories like this. Bridget Jones or Bridget Bones? Renee Zellweger just can't decide. Because sure, this is all her idea. My point is, as a woman or a man, you're going to be judged for how you look. But the most important thing is how you feel about yourself. and whether or not you are healthy. And that looks different for everyone. Because Drew Barrymore was called the chunky one on the set of Charlie's Angels. And then when she lost the weight, they said she looked way too skinny and was probably sick. So ladies, let's start loving ourselves and let's start loving the other women around us.
Yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, that is very much the culture that we live in right now. We're hyper, we're very quick to insult people, very quick to point out flaws, and very eager to show that we know better than someone else. And it's especially sad to see how they prey on celebrities, because I think celebrities are the most vulnerable because they're names that are out there in the news, and they have with the internet, they have plenty of fodder to pull from with our own communities coming up with insults and stuff and judgments to cast on this person. And I know like a lot of media sources will pull up comments from other people or from social media in their shows to scaffold their jokes and stuff. Like I see it on a lot of talk shows and like The View and stuff. Like, let's see what viewers have said. So there's definitely an influence even from us in this whole movement and how it's been perceived. Because, yeah. So with body positivity right now, I think it seems like it's shifting again, where people are just kind of skipping right to the procedures. Like there isn't even because in the past, the body positivity that I saw through probably started around like 2009, 2010, maybe even later into like 2014, 15. I started to notice it around then. And then it really started to gain steam towards the 2019, 2020 type of era. And it started out positive because it was like, let's embrace body at every size. But it started to allow more extreme behavior to be justified. There were groups of people that were living genuinely unhealthy lifestyles that were now allowed to say, oh, but I'm still healthy at every size. Like I can be healthy even at 900 pounds, even though no body should support that much weight. The body is unable to support that much weight. There are physical effects on the body from that much weight hanging off of you that it causes problems. That's why blood clots are more likely, because not only does it block arteries, but it's pulling on your skin and it's compressing arteries and veins and stuff throughout your body. So it's like that pressure can block your blood vessels, even like if you're sleeping or if you're sitting in a position for a long period of time. And I'm talking about like extreme weight. But I do remember seeing, I forgot her last name, but there was a woman named Amber. I remember she was very famous for her, like she would do talk shows, she would be on stage and talk about body positivity, and she was quite plus sized. And I think so. And she passed away. She passed away at like 31 or some 29. I don't know. She was young. And she had always bragged that she was healthier than anybody. Like she I think she danced or something like that. But I've seen multiple influencers that were like that. The ultra body positivity types that ended up passing away because of complications from being overweight. And I think it's sad because it kind of, it not ruined, but it tainted the name of moderate body positivity, the acceptance of bodies at every size. And it seems like we've almost pendulum swung back. Like we went from, okay, the ultra overweight is okay and acceptable and even like lusted after, but now it's swinging back, and now it's just everyone's on Ozempic, everyone is getting fat removal and putting it in their butt, and everyone is getting muscle modification so they can have the perfect bicep, or facial reconfiguration so they can have the most Barbie looking face, or like cheekbones you can put cups on. It's sad because it's a form of body dysmorphia. It's the same category as anorexia and bulimia, and I forgot there's another one. But it doesn't allow you to do the difficult mental processing that is required to accept yourself. Accepting yourself and being completely at peace with who you are requires you to confront and be okay with your flaws and to not change it, because no matter what anyone says, if you change something about that, you're always going to have the smallest smidge of regret, that maybe, like, you'll always have that thought, maybe I shouldn't have. Now, I'm not saying that for everyone, because there are cases where it's necessary. Like, there are cases where you might have been in an accident and you need to do that, or you might have been born with it, or it might even be for like, oh, I need, like, my nasal passages aren't working correctly, and you need, like, not, that was just off the top because of my previous mention, but like, you might need it for medical reasons. So it's not every case, but to get procedures like that and immediately get the results that you want in an artificial way is going to feel different than if you accept that that's who you are and accept that aging happens. One of the things that people don't consider is that stuff doesn't last. You have to either keep going back for more procedures to fix it, or sometimes, like, people will get the eye fillers and the cheek fillers and they'll like sink over time. And so your cheeks will be like by your mouth instead. There's the Ozempic face, where like your skin will sag, so your whole face will just like drop. And obviously there's complications where you can have issues. I've seen people that have gotten like bacterial infections and blood infections and all sorts of complications as a result of these procedures. They're getting like scarring and swelling and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, a lot of these procedures that people are doing for immediate gratification basically are hurting them sometimes. And we also don't know the long-term impacts of having this stuff inside our bodies. We already know that certain metals and certain chemicals and other types of materials inside our bodies can cause long-lasting health impacts, but we don't really know yet what the possible impacts of some of these things can be, especially because they're coming on the market so quickly. And there's a lot of shops that are not as vetted as other ones. Like, they're not as clean, they're not as thorough, they might not be as licensed, they might be under the table. So there's a lot of factors in that type of care and situation. So it's kind of a gamble to go for something like that. Yeah, and I don't see it as something that's worth it. And I mean, as somebody that hates needles, I don't understand why you go through that type of procedure anyways. But just to go in for that risk for something physical that you're going to lose in 3 decades anyways.
It's a culmination of mental health, lack of spiritual awareness, and emotional restraint. I've met a few people that use tattoos as a way of numbing emotional turmoil, blocking out things that happened in the past. So they would go under the needle to kind of try to burn away the memory, even though we know that doesn't work. You have folks that go under these operations because they want to tell you they love themselves the way they are, and they're only doing it to enhance themselves. In reality, you're trying to compete. You just don't want to admit to that. Admitting that you're trying to compete with someone would suggest that you're not comfortable or confident within yourself and who you are already, to the point to where if you came as your regular self versus this other individual who came as their regular self, they're probably just more toned or aesthetically jarring. You will probably get overlooked for that. So you're trying to go head to head. It's like keeping up with the Joneses with the money. You don't have the money, but you have the money. But you don't have
a credit card.
Yeah. And what's sad is, as much as we've heard about people dying under the knife, it still doesn't stop people from doing it. Even if you're not even getting the BBL surgeries, going in your lips and smoothing down your jawline and sharpening your nose up and making it more pointy and all, like, to me, you're getting rid of your loved ones. You're disrespecting their DNA. They're the ones who gave you life, and you're altering it.
And also the people that love you for who you are. Like, your spouse now has to live a different face. Like, it's not the face that he fell in love with and married and stuff like that. And it's also like, I wonder how kids would respond to stuff like that. Because I remember when I was 3, my mom got surgery because she had a tumor like in the front part of her brain, and they had to, like, she had a scar like about a year, I think. And so when she came home from the hospital, like, I was 3, she had like these puffy eye bags underneath, and then I think probably her face and jaw were also swollen, and I was afraid of her. Like, I didn't want to go to the room. I didn't want to look at her. I was like, I thought she was a monster. And when I finally talked to her, I was like, why did you do that? I was afraid. And I just wonder about the kids too. If they, like, the mom gets home and they're like, who's that?
Oh, it's happened. Hell, even you shave your beard. I remember my pops used to shave his beard. I'm like, who's that?
When Everest saw McKinley after his boot camp, he didn't have, like, my husband used to have dreads down to his butt, basically. But then he had to cut them off. And then he had an afro for a while because it took him a little time because of COVID and everything to get in. And so he had an afro for a while. And so when he got back, he was just bald because it was the military. And my art son was just like, I recognize you, but what is this? It wasn't until he spoke to him that he was like, oh, it's you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When people say the word body positivity, all I can think of, the first word is political. It's a word that just sounds pretty, but it doesn't really have much meaning to it or substance to it. This is just another way of saying be shallow and be superficial and destroy your body and cut into it and do what everybody else is doing, because it's going to make you famous. It's going to get you in the crowd. For those of you who are subscribed to the channel and you see a lot of notifications for live streams coming up in the future, tomorrow is actually going to, no, not tomorrow, Friday. Friday is going to be particularly similar to this tonight. And you'll see what I'm talking about. But I think that if you're going to promote body positivity, you should be promoting fitness. You should be promoting health, how to eat better, what not to put in your body. Things like that. Not what your bust size is and how fast you can get into a waist trainer and like little dumb stuff like that.
How should they display unhealthily, like dangerously overweight bodies? Do you think it should be like tobacco companies had to do, or on videos that used people that look like that, they had to put like a disclaimer? Or like, how do you think that should be approached? Because I know there will be groups of people that will, if you say we can't display these bodies because it's unhealthy, they're going to fight back. And there's also the mentality of you want there still to be exposure to that, because it can be a tale for other people to learn from, so they can see the consequences of going that far. So there is also that aspect to it. But yeah, I wonder how this would be approached so it's not promoted.
Well, shit, they show commercials of old men and old women with holes in their neck. I didn't smoke when I was younger, and I wish I would have never picked up. They do that, and I ain't trying to make like I'm like dead serious. They will show you that, but when you talk about anything remotely close to an obese woman or whatever the case may be, it's a problem.
I feel like it's because it's mostly directed at women. They really don't include men in the body positivity movement. If you ever see people like celebrating bodies of every size, it's always women. There are rarely men in those lineups. I don't think I've ever seen a show that had any speakers that were men. Like the only case is if they were on the LGBT spectrum. And yeah, I've never seen, they use them as examples. Like one of their favorites is Drew Carey. How they're like, well, he was successful despite the fact that he was overweight and nobody ever talks about him. I'm like, people make fun of fat celebrities all the time. It is not just women, it is definitely men, but men don't have the opportunity to speak about it because the focus is on the women who are more sensitive.
That's all it is. That's all it is. No, I don't see it. And even in professional sports, there's only but a few of them, like sumo wrestling, where it's kind of like, we expect that. In professional wrestling, you have a few people here and there that's over their BMI, and they get a paycheck, but they don't get the same opportunity as someone who is chiseled and cut. And so, to answer that question again, I say do it like you do those commercials that I grew up on. This is your brain on. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And you take egg and you crack it and do it just like that.
This is your brain on sugar. Like they need to frame it like it's a cookie. Just like,
yeah.
Show the package. I forgot what it's called. It's the pink package of sugar, and just show it and make it seem like it's a drug.
Or you can do like a magic school bus type of a thing, and
Bill Nye.
Yeah, and actually show what's happening to the body when you're doing these things with it. I think people will pay attention to it. Everybody is probably not going to, but it'll definitely jog a couple of eyes. If you real not once I see something, I can't unsee it. That's me.
Yeah. I wonder what the lash would be, because I know if they start to put warnings, there's definitely going to be community members that are like, what? And I wonder if there'll be people that will fight it. But it's really sad because people underestimate how much it actually affects you. There's a community in, I want to say Oklahoma, but it could be South Dakota. I know it's the Midwest. It's a Native American tribe that is basically listed as the fattest community in the country, where like 8 or 9 or 10 of the residents there are classed at at unhealthy to dangerously obese, and they have a life expectancy of 50 years in that community, and sometimes they die earlier, like 30 or 40. Sugar is incredibly dangerous. Like I could do a whole show just on sugar and all the impacts to your body, and it's treated as if it's something that you should feed recklessly to your children and to yourself, and like they put it in everything. It's in sauces, it's in yogurt, it's in like ranch dressing, it's in mayo, it's in ketchup. It's like there's more sugar in ketchup than there is in chocolate. It's crazy.
The more you know, the more you know. Use the words correctly. That's my issue. Use these words correctly. Everything seems to be hidden with other agendas, and this is just another one of them. Ladies, if you're fat, you're fat. I'm sorry. I mean, shit. You got a problem with a dude being short. He can't change that. Even though there are surgeries and operations, there are guys out here that's spending $10,000, $15,000 on leg operations to extend their height. Not happening. Sorry, that's never happening. But there are people like you're willing to go into the body just to impress somebody that's probably not even going to be around you for but a couple of months, and then you're going to end up like Dwight Howard or one of these other people. Like that don't make no sense to me.
And the cost. Like, I guarantee most of you are not paying for that out of pocket. Like that is 100% going to be a credit that you're going to have to pay off, whether it's through the hospital or on your credit card or whatever it is. It's an unnecessary expenditure, and it could, like, depending on what it is, it could keep you out of work. It could, as I said, have complications, and it could have other, like, all the aftercare stuff. Like, it just doesn't seem worth it. Like the other one, the lash extension things where they like inject more lashes into your lash line, so you have like fake eyelash looking lashes. I heard of people going in as much as like $300 to $800, sometimes $1,200 with like a really good tech or whatever. But then they fall out in like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. And then they go back for more. I'm like, I would cry if I had to pay that much, even for my car.
For real.
I don't understand.
Oh, the vanity. All is vanity. Everything under the sun is vexation of spirit. Ecclesiastics. Y'all should read that chapter, that book in general. You'll feel so crappy afterwards. Not depressing, but once you read Ecclesiastes, it's like, man, I'm doing all this shit for nothing, for real. You're getting all dressed up and dolled up, and you're fighting over this and you're fighting over that, and you're working your butt off for this just so that you can get to that, so that can take you to that. And it's like you're exhausted, your body is sore, you're mentally drained. And for what? These people are just temporary in your life. Most of them, the ones that's really there, you don't know what to do with them because they're not living in the same world that you're in.
There's this, I don't know how frequently this actually happens, but just because I recently heard that this happens, I'll also throw this in. It can also be consequential to the kids in the sense that sometimes sometimes these parents will do the procedures even if they're single parents, and they'll leave their kids in the car while they get those procedures. There was a girl recently that one of her children got injured and the other one died because she left them in a 107-degree car while she went in to get her lips done. I think the baby was,
I remember that,
either about to be 2 or he had just turned 2, and then the other one was 4.
I heard about that. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What is up with that? Leaving your kids in the car is hot as hell outside.
Occasionally, it's forgetfulness. Like, I've heard some where they brought their groceries in from the car and they forgot that their kid was they got distracted and stuff. And as someone with ADHD, I can understand that, but I also have a lot of anxiety, so I, in that sense, don't understand that because I know that I'm very when I do take them out of the car, I'm very making sure that I check the back seat. Like, I made it a habit that I check the car seat every time I got out of the car, even if they weren't with me, just in case. And not to mention how they're really loud, so I can't forget them anyways, even if I wanted to. But a lot of these people do it on purpose, sadly. There are some cases that are forgetfulness. There are some cases that something happened, like the person fell asleep on the couch or something. Even though I still don't understand why you wouldn't just bring your kids with you. But I don't have the statistics in front of me, so I don't know what exactly it is, but a lot of these are people doing it on purpose, where the kid was just too overwhelming, so they like left them there when they went to do their thing, and then they passed away, or they did it on purpose. So yeah, it's. I mean, unfortunately, it's very much rooted in selfishness when it's on purpose, because they're doing it because they're like, I want to do what I want to do. It doesn't really matter what you have to go through for me to do what I want to do. That's why kids get left at home. That's why they get left in cars. That's why they get abandoned outside on the street, or like I've heard some crazy stories of where kids have been left. So yeah, it very much self-centered.
And it's all for nothing. You lose yourself, you lose people.
Prison,
credit card debt, you break relationships up. I don't know how people put so much value into things. If you want to go to the gym, that's cool. Go to the physician, doctors, pediatrician, et cetera, et cetera. If you're doing it naturally, I promise you, doing it naturally would give you a better result than going under the knife.
It would last longer, it would look better, and you'd feel better.
Indeed, it's definitely a form of therapy as well. For men specifically, when men hit the gym, it's for therapy. It's to get in shape, but it's also to clear our thoughts and tap into what's important and not be consumed by the everyday challenges of the day by day, dealing with people's opinions and dealing with the pressures of performance. You got to be the best of the best, and if you're not that, then you're all that. Go in the gym, crunch, get it in, sweat a little bit, but I don't think I've ever seen anything long-lasting that came from surgeries and things of that nature. Lil' Kim fucked herself up. I'm sorry. Love you, but yeah, you should not have done all of that on yourself.
Also, when they get that stuff, it kind of has that like lifestyle creep effect, where because they're doing small changes over time, they don't realize that they're dramatically changing the look of their body. Like, everyone thinks of Kim Kardashian, and the fact that her butt is the size of a pumpkin. Like, these people do some crazy things. I have seen people with like bumps on their forehead, so they look like dragons or something. I don't know what they look like, but like, there's all sorts of these procedures that get more and more extreme, like that lady that tries to make herself look like a cat, or the people that keep getting cheek implants, and like Jeff Bezos had those cheek implants. And then there's people that like shave their jaw and their cheek. I'm like, oh my, why would you do that? That would be so painful. That sounds awful. I would never, like, does feel not, like, I imagine that would be like getting dragged by a car or something. No, thank you. I'm perfectly content being okay with this. And I always say, like, for my everything that you get, like, your wrinkles, your gray hairs, your scars, your whatever, they're all representations of what you went through in life. Like, they're not things that you should be ashamed of. They should be things that remind you of what you went through. Like, you're going to have injury scars, and those might be stories of things that you did that might have been stupid, but they had a good story at the end of it. Like, I have plenty of those. You might have scars from like injuries or illnesses that you survived, and you might have like injuries because, I mean, not injuries, you might have like effects because you had kids. Like, your body might be different because you had kids, or you might have spent a lot of time outdoors, so your skin is more tanned and you have freckles, and you might have like the sun wrinkles and stuff. But all of those like celebrate who you are and what you did and what you experienced. And you really want to look like a Barbie doll? I mean, come on. Everyone's going to look the same in the future. We're all going to be like the same form. It's going to be like AI, where it's all conglomerating into the same image, because every time you search on AI, it generates from the images that it already has cataloged, and it like condenses them and stuff. So it like gets less and less like diverse over time. It becomes very like condensed into the same images. Anyway, that was an extended metaphor. We're just gonna get to a future where like everybody looks exactly the same. Police are just gonna have to go off our fingerprints because we're not gonna be able to go off what we look like. We're all gonna have the same hairdos. We're gonna have because we're all dressing the same, and like we'll all have Labubus hanging off of our backpacks. Like,
Yeah, all right. Some people are going to be able to afford the luxury versions of it, and then you're going to see the Temu, eBay versions of it.
T-boo-boo.
Hold on.
Bang, 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 bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ain't here to tell you how to dress or what to do to your body. You're going to do what you're going to do regardless. But there's a reason why some things you're just supposed to leave alone, like nature, why you don't mess with avalanches. You don't go somewhere where you could get crushed by millions of pounds of snow, or you don't go in the shark infested waters. And there's some things you just don't mess with. And
yesterday, I watched a video of a tourist in the Amazon dragging his hand through the water as the boat was moving along the river. Or no, sorry, it was Florida, not the Amazon. It was in Florida. And guess who got bit by a shark?
Well, it's kind of like the Amazon. They got their foreign creatures out there too. Hey, hey, let me go ahead and do some goofy stuff and just let's see what happens. Yeah, congratulations, you lost an arm. But maybe he didn't. I don't know.
He got pulled into the water.
Yeah. Never, man. Never. Like, put it this way: if I'm not going to make the transformations myself, then I'm not getting cut open. No. I would feel better knowing that I did it on my own than had a supplement. There's pride in being able to accomplish something with your own hands, and I would never want to be looked at like I'm lazy, I'm taking shortcuts.
And it also allows you to understand your own body more. Like when you exercise, you start to pick up and pinpoint like areas where you might have actual pain rather than the pain because you've been sitting on the couch and now your knees are all like unused. But you're able to identify like how your body works and like how you like to feel and what needs to be stretched, and maybe even it also gets you on the train of eating healthy because you start to notice how the food is affecting you and your energy levels and your how your body just feels physically. It's whether you're doing rote exercises or running or whatever, like do an exercise that feels good to you, like that just gets you moving, that gets your blood flowing, that you enjoy, because it's important to move around, to do something with your body, because that's literally what our bodies are made for, to move around. That's why we're shaped like this.
Love yourself, people. That's the message. Stop letting these commercials gas y'all up and lie to you. Y'all be in the comment section. Y'all terrible. Y'all some terrible ass people, man. Not all of you, but a lot of y'all are horrible. I was reading one post. She said, man, I twerk every day so that I can make sure that I still got it when I get older. And then everybody in the comment section is, yes, girl, I lost my magic. I stopped doing it when I wish I would have still did it. And what are y'all talking about? That's not exercise. And then on top of that, y'all be gyrating in front of these kids on these stages, and y'all be in the comment section thinking it's cute.
There was a teacher that got fired for twerking in class of like 6th graders.
Yeah. It just never ends, does it? It's just always something. Always.
And it just gets more extreme. I'm hoping that it's going to start bouncing back soon, because we're getting to the point where people are literally just wearing underwear out in public, or like bubble skirts that don't even cover their parts. And this has to come back around. Like, we can't be like, it's sad because we've kind of devalued ourselves. We've turned ourselves into objects.
See, that's the difference between us and them. We say it's devaluing. They think we're hating. They think that we're old and we don't know style and fashion. We've already been down that road before. Look, at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you will and what you want. But make sure that you're prepared to live with those decisions when you hit 50 years old and your chin is down to your navel, like,
or just the skin on your face.
Right. That's wild. That's wild. Other than that, I don't know. Will I ever try to do a cave thing? Perhaps. I want to try one of those caves that got stalagmites. That would be dope.
Oregon has some really good ones of those. I think Virginia does too.
Okay. Yeah, the one that I went to was in Virginia. I just can't remember the name of it, but that would be pretty fun. I can do hiking. I can do nature, but some extremes, I'm good on it. Anything that you want to close out with? I'm gonna turn the cam and all that over to you. Shout outs to everybody in the building. appreciate y'all for putting up all the love. We see you, we acknowledge you as much as possible. Yeah.
She's a bit grumpy. No, okay, no, difficult either. The difficulty of being 2 years old.
I know, right? Take me back. Let me go back to 2, 3, 4 years old. I think most of the people here would want to go back.
I would, as long as it wasn't the 2000s. If I could go back to like the 50s or something, I'd be cool with that. Or actually, no, the 40s, so I can get a house. Get a house for like $2,300.
I know. Everything was super cheap. I would have been ahead of the game by far. Saved so much bread. I wouldn't even be in the United States right now. I would have been retired somewhere out of this country. But yeah, man, we about to get up out of here, folks.
I just wanted to say, praying for all of the people being affected by floods, and I hope you guys are safe. Anybody who's out there.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy the rest of y'all night. Drive safe. Be careful on that road. Of course, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that is suffering in Texas, everyone that's dealing with these waters out here all across the board. And we will see you guys tomorrow. I do have, this is going to be a good show tomorrow. Make sure y'all tap in and do me a solid before y'all leave.
What's the goddamn button?
See you Friday.
Appreciate y'all. Oh, Cryptic Creed is about to air in about 10 minutes, so lock in.
By examining his own attitude towards the possibilities of peace, towards the Soviet Union, towards the course of the Cold War.
Art muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me.
You see it on the bridge. Wait, how they get it? If the government had to change the screw in the bridge, they had to shut it down. They got state troopers out there. They got lanes closed. They got their strange machines. How did they get up